This is the LEGO Superheroes Iceberg chart, and no, I'm not going to do the whole cliche explanation of what an iceberg chart is. If you're watching this, you probably already know by now, and if not, honestly, I would check out one of my previous iceberg chart videos. Anyway, this chart comes from Reddit user yodaschick-o-stick, and I guess I have more knowledge about LEGO superheroes than I thought, because there were quite a few things that I felt like should have been included on here that weren't, so I sprinkled in a few things here and there as well. Anyway, let's get right into it, and kindly consider liking this video to push it out to more people. It would really help out the channel. 2006 LEGO Batman theme. Before the LEGO DC Superheroes theme was introduced in 2012, LEGO had a theme just based on Batman, which ran from 2006 to 2008. The theme had about a dozen sets and a few tie-ins, most notably LEGO Batman the video game, which released in 2008. Comic-based sets. I feel like this one's fairly self-explanatory, but the LEGO superhero sets are based off of various properties like movies or TV shows, and of course many are simply just based off of the comics, like the original wave of LEGO DC Superheroes, for example. Art sets. LEGO Art is a theme geared towards adults, which features a variety of different subjects. For example, you have the world map, which is the largest LEGO set by piece count, at least as of me making this video in 2025. There are sets based on pop culture, like this Beatles mural set, allowing you to pick your favorite Beatle and build him out of LEGO studs. So, in other words, anyone but John Lennon. LEGO has also made some superhero-based sets like the Iron Man set and the Jim Lee Batman collection, which allows you to build Batman, the Joker, or Harley Quinn in the style of the acclaimed comic book artist. Misprints. Once in a blue moon, you will see a misprinted LEGO minifigure pop up. This can be a very subtle misprint, or it can be something a little more obvious and goofy. One of the funnier examples of this is white Nick Fury. There's also this yellow Spider-Man, which is pretty cool. A common misprint example is when the print is downshifted, meaning that the print was simply not applied to the right part of the minifigure piece. As a result, they kind of have these larger foreheads and look like Temu knockoffs as a result. There's definitely a market for these misprinted minifigures, as they're quite rare, and as a result, you can imagine they're pretty valuable and sought after on the aftermarket. Iron Man Pancake Head. The set Iron Man Hulkbuster vs. AIM Agent includes this Hulkbuster build, which is based off the comic, and as a result has a much flatter head for the Hulkbuster build. Many LEGO fans thought this looked kind of weird despite being fairly accurate to some of its comic book representations, and so some people took to calling it the Pancake Head because of how flat the piece is. Happy Meal toys. This refers to the Happy Meal toys that McDonald's released to coincide with LEGO Batman the video game. There were these kind of statuettes based off of the minifigure characters from the video game, available in fall 2008. I didn't even know this, but I guess there was also a Happy Meal promotion in 2017 to coincide with the release of the LEGO Batman movie as well. Although these toys seemed kind of lame, particularly compared to the ones from 2008. Spoilers. I assume this entry refers to the possibility of LEGO spoiling a movie or a TV show with a set tie-in. Typically with LEGO or other promotional merchandising tie-ins, the toy will release a few months before the movie does to kind of hype up the release. And I guess there are instances of LEGO subtly spoiling part of the plot of a movie, like the inclusion of a certain character or a fight scene. One example of this would be Giant Man's appearance in Captain America Civil War. It does seem like LEGO's usually pretty good about not spoiling movies in this way, because a lot of the tie-ins that come out beforehand are usually pretty generic and might not even necessarily tie into the actual scene being depicted in the set. TT Video Games. Traveler's Tales is the studio that has developed nearly every one of the LEGO video games, starting with LEGO Star Wars the video game in 2005, up until the most recent LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, released in 2022, and the upcoming LEGO Batman game, which, as of me making this video, has yet to have been released. Within the world of superheroes, of course, there are a handful of other superhero LEGO video games, like LEGO Batman the video game, which I mentioned. There was LEGO Batman 2 released in 2012, and that was followed by LEGO Batman 3, and then LEGO DC Super Villains. On the Marvel side, you have LEGO Marvel Superheroes released in 2013, followed by LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, and LEGO Marvel's The Avengers. LEGO Marvel's The Avengers was the only LEGO superhero video game based entirely off of the movies, as it's essentially an adaptation of Phase 1 and 2 of the MCU. The Lego Batman movie. The Lego Batman movie is a spin-off of the widely popular and critically acclaimed Lego movie released in 2014. The Lego Batman movie came out in 2017, featuring the return of Will Arnett as the voice of Batman as he appeared in the Lego movie. The movie garnered pretty positive reviews both from critics and fans alike, and the merchandising tie-in for this movie was honestly insane. I think Lego DC Superheroes really hit its peak with the sets, and honestly just the products that came out alongside this movie in 2017. The Winter Soldier Polybag. The first Winter Soldier minifigure was released in the form of a gift with purchase polybag. If you were to spend at least $75 at the Lego store in August 2015, you would get this minifigure. I think the reason this entry is on the chart is because in addition to the face print that's based off of the Winter Soldier movie, you also have this comic book face print on the back as well. This was the only Lego tie-in that was made for Captain America: The Winter Soldier. SDCC exclusives. SDCC stands for San Diego Comic-Con, which is really considered to be the premier comic convention in the world. LEGO will often have exclusive minifigures or sets based off of DC and Marvel superheroes that can only be acquired by attending the convention. This makes quite a few people upset, as you can imagine, childhood me included, because in order to get a very cool exclusive minifigure or set, you would often need to be randomly selected in a raffle, and in a lot of these instances, only about 250 people would end up actually winning the raffle and getting one of these minifigures. LEGO has also sold sets based on various superhero things, like Superman's first appearance in Action Comics, and as you can imagine, these very exclusive sets have a lot of demand and just a ridiculous price tag on the aftermarket. Dark Knight Batpod. In 2015, LEGO had this promotion for LEGO VIP members, which is now known as LEGO Insiders, in which they raffled off 750 of this Batpod set based on its appearance in the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. I remember childhood me entered this raffle nearly every day on my mom's computer, really hoping I would get one of these sets, and I did not end up getting one, unfortunately. You can find instructions for this set online. It doesn't have any particularly rare pieces, nor does it have really any exclusive pieces, if I'm not mistaken. Shark Repellent. This refers to an accessory that comes with the Dick Grayson minifigure from the LEGO Batman movie collectible minifigure series. If you've seen the 1966 Adam West Batman movie, there's this one scene where Batman's dangling from a ladder attached to the Bat helicopter over the water, and there are these sharks trying to eat him, and Robin just so happens to have a bottle of shark repellent on hand, which is used to scare off the sharks. This is just one of the many goofy things from that era of Batman, and LEGO kind of pokes fun at that, or at least kind of pays tribute to that with this minifigure accessory. Unnecessary Spider-Man vehicles. One gimmick with the LEGO Spider-Man sets is that he always has some sort of goofy vehicle that he would never use nor even need to use, like a helicopter or a sports car, something that just would not make sense in New York. Some people have obviously poked fun at this over the years, as a lot of these Spider-Man sets are just a cool Spider-Man villain or hero minifigure, and then the build is just this wacky, impractical Spider-Man vehicle and the same Spider-Man minifigure as every other set. And of course, these sets are ultimately primarily geared toward children, believe it or not. Juniors. Speaking of children, LEGO Juniors is a theme that's targeted towards, the 4 and up crowd, and it's supposed to kind of bridge the gap between LEGO Duplo and full-on LEGO system sets. The sets often have these builds that use fewer and larger pieces, and it's supposed to, like I said, kind of serve as an intro for kids to help them learn how to build LEGO, and both DC and Marvel have had their fair share of Junior sets since their inception. These sets are often notorious for basically having half the piece count for double the price. It's a typical LEGO rule of thumb, as far as the price goes, that a set should be expected to be about $1 for every 10 pieces, and of course that's not universal, but if a set is 200 pieces, you can expect that set to be about $20. But with LEGO Juniors, because of the size and the weight of some of these pieces, the production costs associated that go into that kind of thing, you can expect a 200 piece set to be $40, which definitely turns off a lot of customers. It's usually going to be parents buying these sets for their small children, and it really doesn't make sense to spend that much money and get so little in return. 2024 X-Jet. In 2024, LEGO released this X-Jet set to coincide with the release of X-Men 97 on Disney+, and it was quickly panned for being quite possibly the most overpriced LEGO superhero set to date. Despite having 359 pieces, the set retailed for $85 and received quite a bit of pushback as a result. Mech sets. So in 2020, LEGO started making these mech sets for the Marvel superheroes theme. They're basically a cheap way to get a cool minifigure and a pretty decent build with some cool pieces. Some of these sets make plenty of sense, like Iron Man or War Machine or Iron Man again or Iron Man a third time. But some of them are just goofy and really does not make sense for a lot of these characters to have a mech like Thanos or Spider-Man or Thanos a second time or Spider-Man a second time. The mechification, if you will, has also spread to DC superheroes with Batman, and this definitely makes sense for him to have a mech in some situations, but then LEGO announced they were going to make a Superman versus Lex Luthor mech set, and a lot of people, myself included, thought that meant Lex Luthor was going to have the mech, which, LEGO's done before, he's going to be fighting Superman, makes plenty of sense. But then when they revealed the set, Superman had the mech, and Lex was fighting him on foot, which just confused a lot of people. People have made jokes about the mechification of LEGO, as the company has expanded the sub-theme to Star Wars, much to the dismay of a lot of people. Many thought that this was kind of just an April Fool's joke when the rumors started circulating that LEGO was making Star Wars mechs, and once it was determined that this was a real thing that LEGO was doing, a lot of people started joking about which LEGO theme would become mechified next, like Harry Potter. Newspapers. So I think what this entry refers to is that some superhero sets have these newspaper printed tiles included in them, which have some various Easter eggs. One of the funnier examples is the 2012 set Catwoman Cat Cycle City Chase, which features this newspaper piece here. Apparently this piece actually has a full-on story about a guy who saved a cat from a tree in Gotham City, which I guess was front page news that day, so do with that information what you will. Airport battle suitcases. In the superhero airport battle from Captain America Civil War, the luggage has these stickers with various abbreviations for airports and cities from Marvel's universe. There are luggage tags for Sokovia, Wakanda, and Billund, the homes of Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, and LEGO respectively. I should include that Billund is a very real place in central Denmark. Thanos butter knife. So at first I thought this referred to Thanos in the Avengers Endgame final battle, simply having this giant double-edged sword. I mean, the blades are really soft and it kind of looks like he's holding a massive double-edged butter knife. But after researching this, I realized that butter knife is the actual canon name for this weapon. So what I think this refers to is that Thanos doesn't use this weapon during the final battle in the movie, because, I mean, he already has the Infinity Gauntlet. So this is probably something that was based off of the concept art for Avengers Endgame. Fat Cowl 2012 Batman. In the 2012 Cat Cycle Chase set that I mentioned previously, the Batman minifigure has the original cowl piece from the 2006 LEGO Batman theme. When DC superheroes first launched, LEGO updated Batman's cowl to make it kind of more rounder and tighter, if you will, but for whatever reason, the smallest set from that first wave reuses the original cowl piece. This is kind of weird considering the piece had been out of production since 2008, so it's bizarre that LEGO would bring it back for one set, especially considering every other set, whether it be blue or black, in that wave had the new updated piece. LEGO Studios Spider-Man. So in the early 2000s, LEGO had this theme called LEGO Studios, and LEGO made two sets to coincide with the release of the 2002 Spider-Man movie. There was supposed to be a third set based on the wrestling scene, but that set was never actually released. There's some speculation as to why that was the case, potentially because of a licensing issue, as one of the minifigures in this set is Bonesaw McGraw, who of course was played by real-life wrestler Macho Man Randy Savage. So some people have guessed that perhaps there may have been some sort of legal issue or an objection from Macho Man Randy Savage about depicting him in LEGO form. That's kind of speculation. I've never really heard a definitive answer as to why the set was canceled. The only piece that was never released in another set was Bonesaw's torso. LEGO would go on to make Spider-Man 1 sets under its own LEGO Spider-Man theme as well. Killer Croc minifigure. Killer Croc is one of Batman's villains who appeared in one set during the LEGO Batman theme, and this entry could be referring to one of two things. The first of which is that when LEGO Batman 2 came out, it had some characters in the game that were based on the LEGO Batman version of the minifigure, as opposed to the LEGO DC Superheroes version, so some of the characters in the game were just kind of outdated and looked slightly out of place, one of which being Killer Croc. But honestly, what this entry probably refers to is this Killer Croc minifigure from the LEGO Batman movie. As you can see, he has the head of a crocodile from the classic LEGO space themes like Pirates, which is a kind of funny little tribute, if you will. Tartan Batman. This refers to a minifigure that was exclusively released in this activity book as part of the merchandising tie-in for the LEGO Batman movie. I don't think there's much to this entry aside from it being a really niche exclusive minifigure that was exclusive to this pretty cheap book. Fantastic Four. Ever since the beginning of the LEGO Marvel Superheroes theme, fans have been asking for Fantastic Four minifigures and sets, especially because the Fantastic Four is heavily featured in 2013's LEGO Marvel Superheroes video game. Despite this, it wasn't until 2025 that LEGO finally made a Fantastic Four set to coincide with the release of the First Steps movie. Of course, these minifigures and characters are based on their depiction in the movie, so for those hoping for a Thing Big Fig, you're just gonna have to wait, or get yourself a custom third-party one. Fire extinguishers. This refers to the observation that a lot of LEGO Marvel sets have a red fire extinguisher accessory in it, and in a lot of instances, it just seems kind of out of place. It's just kind of a weird coincidence, or maybe it's some sort of like subliminal fire safety PSA from LEGO. Who knows? Cancelled LEGO Batman Movie 2. So in December 2018, it was announced that a sequel to the LEGO Batman movie was in the works, set to be released in 2022. But after the disappointing box office returns of the LEGO Movie 2 in 2019, Universal Pictures acquired the film rights to the LEGO brand in April 2020, effectively canceling the sequel due to Warner Bros. Owning the rights to DC Comics characters. In 2021, the first movie's director revealed that it would have primarily focused on Batman's relationship with the Justice League, particularly Superman, and the main villains in this movie would have been Lex Luthor and OMAC. Kree Captain Marvel. In 2019, LEGO released this set based on the Captain Marvel movie as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and in this set was this exclusive Captain Marvel minifigure in her Kree suit. The only exclusive minifigure of the two was this one, and interestingly enough, LEGO would re-release the same minifigure in this $5 poly bag the next year, which is pretty uncommon when LEGO makes one of these San Diego Comic-Con exclusive sets with an exclusive minifigure included. Disney Tax. This basically refers to LEGO sets based on Disney properties, specifically Star Wars and Marvel being costlier than sets from other themes. There are plenty of instances of Marvel sets, especially in recent years, just being way more expensive than they should be based on factors like the piece count. And when you compare the price to piece ratio to sets from other themes, it kind of just demonstrates the effect of the quote-unquote Disney tax. Branding abolished. So up until 2018, all Marvel and DC superhero sets were branded under Marvel Superheroes and DC Superheroes respectively, but in 2019, LEGO kind of ditched that and instead branded all superhero sets under their respective heroes. For example, Spider-Man sets were branded under a Spider-Man sub-theme, and Batman sets were branded under a Batman sub-theme. They potentially did this because having both themes under the same name could have been confusing to some consumers. Stan Lee is worthy. There's this post-credit cutscene in LEGO Marvel's The Avengers video game that shows Stan Lee cleaning a room in Avengers Tower and picking up Thor's hammer Mjolnir. If you're familiar with the source material, you know that only those who are worthy can lift and wield the hammer, meaning that the creator of the comics is worthy of doing so. Illegal building technique and helicarrier. Illegal building technique is basically some sort of LEGO technique that puts unnecessary strain on the pieces, and thus is avoided by LEGO in sets. I kind of talked about illegal LEGO building techniques in my LEGO Iceberg chart video, so honestly, I would check that video out if you're not familiar with the concept. One example of an illegal building technique is putting a flat tile 1x1 in a 1x1 clip piece, which is exactly what LEGO did in the helicarrier set depicted here. But apparently this is an updated piece, which is now able to withstand the strain caused by this illegal building technique without causing damage to the pieces. And as a result, I guess it's really not an illegal building technique, according to LEGO. 18 plus Batman cowl. Set 76182 is this large-scale Batman cowl, and it's resting on a trans dark brown base. There's not much to this entry other than the bizarre color choice there. Margot Robbie Harley Quinn minifigure. In 2019, DC released the pretty poorly reviewed Suicide Squad movie, which featured Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and despite the poor reception of the movie, this version of Harley Quinn became pretty popular, for cosplayers and whatnot. And so while LEGO did not make any sets based on this movie, they did actually make a Harley Quinn minifigure based on Margot Robbie's character in that movie. She doesn't appear in a DC superhero set, rather she appears in a LEGO Batman Movie 2 set called Welcome to Apocalypseburg. And as you can guess, she's a very valuable minifigure, as the only way to get her is in this $300 set. I guess it was inevitable that I would throw another self-plug in here, but I do talk about this minifigure in my rare and expensive LEGO minifigure iceberg chart video, so check that one out if you haven't as well. Indirect movie tie-ins. There are some instances of LEGO sets where it's not a literal direct movie tie-in, but it still has some sort of tie-in. For example, in 2008, LEGO released a Dark Knight tie-in set, which had the Tumbler and the Batman minifigure based off of the Christopher Nolan adaptation, but the Joker was the same comic book Joker, and his vehicle was this comic-inspired ice cream truck. I really don't recall there being a scene where Batman is chasing the Joker in an ice cream truck. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. LEGO Store exclusive builds. What I assume this entry refers to is that there are plenty of LEGO superhero sets that are LEGO exclusives, meaning that you can only purchase them directly from LEGO, either at a physical LEGO store or on their online shop. These sets are, in many cases, very large Ultimate Collector Series style sets like the Daily Bugle or the 2025 Arkham Asylum. Comic-Con exclusive Brickheads. Brickheads is kind of LEGO's answer to Funko Pops, and wow, what do you know? Another self-promo opportunity. You thought I was finished. I made a video some time ago about times LEGO copied competitors, so if you want to learn more about Brickheads in general, definitely check that video out. Anyway, LEGO has had some superhero-themed Brickheads in 2016 and 2017, which were only made available at San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con. This made some fans kind of mad because completionists want to get all of them, and it makes it extremely difficult to do so when you have to pay the aftermarket price. They made Brickheads based on a variety of characters like Supergirl and Martian Manhunter, or Spider-Man and Venom. Arkham Asylum Mr. Freeze Cell. So in 2013, LEGO released the second iteration of Arkham Asylum, and one of the rooms included was Mr. Freeze's cell. I think the significance of this entry is that Mr. Freeze, despite having his own cell in the set, isn't actually included in the set. Rather, he was included in a $20 set from that same wave. To be clear, this iceberg chart is from 2022, and so it's pretty clear that this is what this entry refers to, as opposed to the 2025 Arkham Asylum set, which does include Mr. Freeze. Sets 30280 and 30163. So in 2012, LEGO released this Marvel polybag called Thor and the Cosmic Cube. As you can see, the set is basically just Thor, and then there's this rock with the Cosmic Cube in the center of it. But then in 2014, LEGO released a promotional polybag for the LEGO movie called The Piece of Resistance. I think it's pretty clear here what the significance of this entry is, considering that the sets are just very similar and have a very similar play feature. Battle at the Ancient Village title. Battle at the Ancient Village is a 2021 LEGO set based off of the movie Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The only thing is that the Ancient Village isn't actually included in the set. Bunny Batman Keylight. To tie into the release of the LEGO Batman movie, one of the numerous non-LEGO set products that was released was this Easter Bunny Batman Keylight. LEGO would never make this Batsuit in minifigure form, however. Now, the company would make an Easter Bunny Batman minifigure in the LEGO Batman movie minifigure collection, which was this limited edition Toys R Us exclusive set, but you will notice that the minifigures are slightly different. Batman does not have the pink cape or gloves, And I guess this is just kind of a weird instance of a minifigure that only appeared in the form of a key light of all things and a bag tag, I guess, but was never made into an actual LEGO minifigure in that way. More than a hero poster. LEGO made this promotional poster to commemorate a decade of the MCU in 2018. The poster had these minifigures that hadn't been released yet, and they would end up later being released in a Bricktober pack. I'm pretty sure this poster was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I don't know if this was something that was like sold at the convention or just kind of handed out to people. Electro in both No Way Home sets. So in 2023, LEGO released this final battle set based on Spider-Man No Way Home, but it was noticeably missing both Sandman and Lizard. So the following year, LEGO would release the set Spider-Man vs. Sandman Final Battle, which had this brick-built Sandman and the Lizard both included, but for whatever reason, it included Electro, who was already in the prior set I mentioned. And the point of the second set was it was kind of an attachment to the first set. And if you have the same exact Spider-Man minifigure in both sets, like, I guess that makes sense. It's a Spider-Man movie, but it is kind of strange that they had Electro, of all minifigures, appear in both. Now, I should say the Electro minifigure is slightly different, as the size of the electric bolts coming out of his back are different, and the torso also has a bit more detail in the Sandman set. I do feel like LEGO could have considered having a different character in the set instead of a slightly modified Electro, though, especially considering that the Spider-Man minifigure is the exact same from the previous Final Battle set. Weird minifigure scale Thanos sets. Thanos has become a very popular superhero's character thanks to his role in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. LEGO has made these minifigure scale Thanos sets to kind of further cash in on the character's recent popularity, in addition to the big fake Thanos sets. The builds in these minifigure size sets are a little weird. For example, in this 2025 Junior set, you have Thanos riding this like Infinity Gauntlet magic carpet thing. Or there's this other set where Thanos has this kind of glider build, but the build is just extrememely lazy, even by LEGO Junior standards. And that's not to mention the weird Thanos mechs that I've previously talked about. 2022 Hulkbuster. So in 2022, LEGO released this Ultimate Collector Series Hulkbuster set, which retailed for $550. A lot of fans were pretty quick to criticize the set, as for one thing, it was about $100 overpriced, and the build had some unfortunate shortcomings many people were not happy about. If you look at the torso from the side, there's these empty gaps under the arms that look weird. The proportions of the armor look strange. I made a few videos about this on my TikTok around that time, so another blatant self-promo while we're at it. Go follow me on TikTok. 2011 Superman minifigure. In 2011, LEGO made 3 of these DC superheroes minifigures to promote the upcoming superheroes theme. They were given to some attendees at that year's New York Comic-Con, and one of these minifigures was Batman, based off the Dark Knight trilogy. There was also this Green Lantern minifigure based on the Green Lantern movie, which you might just now be remembering existed. And then you have the Superman minifigure based off of his comic book appearance. And of course, LEGO has made Dark Knight Trilogy Batman minifigures, but this one in particular remains exclusive to this day. The same with Green Lantern. Obviously, they've made kind of more comic-based Green Lantern minifigures, but certainly never made any sets based off of the Green Lantern movie. So these 2 minifigures, of course, are exclusive, but the Superman minifigure was the exact same one that would later be released in a $20 set the next year. Kind of frustrating for the people who got this minifigure and not the 2 exclusive ones because of the aftermarket value. Lazy Batman vs. Joker sets. So, in recent years, it seems like LEGO has kind of all but forgotten that it even has the license to make DC superhero sets, because it's really gotten to the point where it just kind of makes a set with Batman, who's either in the Batmobile or the Batwing, and then they kind of throw in a Joker minifigure who's running away on foot, and they just kind of call it a day there. In 2023, LEGO DC Superheroes only had 6 total sets, all of which were Batman themed. Of these sets, there was a Batman chasing the Joker in the Batmobile set, There was a Junior's Batman chasing the Joker in the Batmobile set, and then there was a Batman chasing the Joker in the Batwing set. A lot of fans were pretty frustrated, myself included, honestly, that DC Superheroes has just kind of been reduced to rehashing the same handful of Batman concepts over and over, especially considering that there's so many concepts in the wider DC universe, which LEGO has never explored. Mighty Micros. Mighty Micros was this sub-theme of both DC and Marvel superheroes based off of these kind of like go-kart builds. All the sets were $10. They included a kind of more minimalist and cartoony version of a superhero and supervillain with short legs, and then they kind of had a cartoonish accessory as well. For example, Catwoman had a carton of milk because cats like milk, and Hulk had a drumstick because, you know, he likes to eat, I guess. The builds were simple, but honestly pretty cool. Batman obviously had the Batmobile. Thanos had the Infinity Gauntlet Mobile, which honestly went kind of hard. Stuff like that. Both DC and Marvel superheroes got 9 sets, 3 each year from 2016 to 2018. The main appeal here was that it was a cheap way to get 2 minifigures, and then you got some pretty cool pieces with some of these builds as well. Video game only characters. So in the LEGO video games, there are some playable characters and some NPCs that are not based on physical minifigures LEGO's made. Examples of such include Mad Hatter from LEGO Batman, or even like Howard the Duck from LEGO Marvel Superheroes. Book exclusive minifigures. So there's some minifigures that are exclusive to some of the LEGO books released by DK, at least in a lot of instances. If you were in elementary school in the late 2000s, you probably remember the LEGO Star Wars Visual Dictionary, which had that exclusive Luke Skywalker minifigure with the medal from the end of A New Hope. I remember some people would just buy the book for the minifigure and not even read the book, or some people would just kind of, help themselves to the minifigure when the school librarian wasn't paying attention. LEGO's done this with some superhero books over the years, like the LEGO DC Superheroes Visual Dictionary, which had this exclusive Batman based off of its appearance in the second LEGO Batman video game. Additionally, LEGO will release these DVD or Blu-rays that have an exclusive minifigure as well. After LEGO Batman 2 was released, they released a DVD that was basically just the cutscenes from the game with some editing to kind of make it more coherent, and they threw in this Clark Kent minifigure. There are plenty of instances of this where they have this exclusive minifigure, and if you want it, you have to pay like $20-25 to get a movie or get a book just to get the minifigure. Or, you could just buy it on Bricklink. Video game pre-order bonuses and gift with purchases. So I'm just going to group these two into one category since we're on the topic of exclusive minifigures that don't appear in conventional sets. Dating back to LEGO Harry Potter years 5 through 7, LEGO has always had some sort of pre-order bonus for their video games, and of course the LEGO superhero video games have been no different. In 2012, you had this Lex Luthor set based on his appearance in the video game. LEGO Marvel Superheroes had this set with Iron Patriot, and probably the best minifigure pre-order bonus of all time is the Silver Centurion minifigure from LEGO's Marvel's The Avengers, which is kind of ironic because this is probably one of the worst LEGO video games, but it still had one of the best, if not the best, pre-order bonuses. There are also some instances of people going to GameStop after the game release and asking an employee if they have any more of these poly bags, and the employee either selling the poly bags or maybe even just giving them the poly bag for free. As for gifts with purchase, at any given time, LEGO has had some sort of gifts with purchase, like if you spend a certain amount of money on their website or at a LEGO store, you get a free set or a free minifigure, and there have been plenty of superhero instances of such, like the Bucky Barnes minifigure I talked about previously, or this Martian Manhunter minifigure if you spent like $75 at the LEGO store. Additionally, there are some instances where if you buy one of the Ultimate Collector Series LEGO exclusive sets within a certain time frame after its release, you get this smaller exclusive set. One example that comes to mind is with Avengers Tower. There was this exclusive taxi cab set, which was kind of underwhelming, but it had 4 minifigures at least. Batmanless Lego Batman set. Of the Lego Batman sets from the original theme, there was only one set that didn't include Batman. The set in question was Robin's Scuba Jet Attack of the Penguin, which, as you can probably guess, had Robin fighting the Penguin all by himself. They grow up so fast. Green Electro minifigure. So in the Ultimate Spider-Man Spider-Trike vs. Electro set, Electro was originally supposed to have kind of a more comic book based look, which, as you can see here, is included in the preliminary art for that set. The final set, however, used this fully blue Electro, which was more accurate to the character's appearance in the animated series. LEGO has mostly given fans a comic Electro minifigure by this point, that minifigure being this one from Spidey and His Amazing Friends, so close enough, I guess. Sanctum Sanctorum mistranslation. So the 2016 Sanctum Sanctorum set has a sticker that spells Dormammu's name incorrectly. It says Dormammu with one M before the U as opposed to two. Clayface. Clayface is a villain in the Batman universe who made his first appearance in LEGO Batman the video game in 2008, and then would also be an unlockable character in LEGO Batman 2. He's the only villain from the original LEGO Batman video game to not make an appearance in LEGO Batman 3, but he would return in LEGO DC Super Villains. I think what this entry refers to is that despite his appearance in LEGO Media, he's still never had a physical minifigure, despite some fans' requests. And LEGO did make two brick-built Clayfaces. One came in this LEGO Batman movie set, and the other was in this LEGO Batcave break-in set. The 2025 Arkham Asylum set was an instance in which a lot of fans were hoping LEGO would finally make the Clayface minifigure, but when the set was revealed, fans were certainly disappointed that he was not included, especially because there's this sticker that has Clayface on it in the set. So sometimes LEGO will include a sticker that kind of teases an upcoming set or minifigure, so some fans are speculating that LEGO will make an official Clayface minifigure in the next year or so as of me making this video. Spider-Man train is inaccurate. Spider-Man vs. Doc Ock subway train scene is a 2025 Spider-Man set based on Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. The set includes an Aunt May and J. Jonah Jameson minifigure as they appear in that movie, but of course if you've seen Spider-Man 2, you know neither character was involved in that scene. LEGO probably just included them because, I mean, it's a $55 set. They haven't made a Spider-Man 2 set in over 20 years, so it is pretty cool that they included these characters, as they're of course pretty important to the movie and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. But I will say, it is pretty funny that in the official box art for this set, they have Aunt May kind of like barely hanging onto the train, and J. Jonah Jameson is on top of the train car chasing after Spider-Man and Doc Ock mid-battle. Jameson was included in the original 2004 version of this set, although he is just kind of hanging out off to the side, angrily shaking his fist at Spider-Man shenanigans. Hulk car engine and Apocalypseburg. Hulk vs. Red Hulk is this Marvel superhero set which came out in 2017, and at the front of Hulk's car is this engine. The engine is also included in the Welcome to Apocalypseburg set from the LEGO Movie 2, which I talked about previously, a set which is really just jam-packed with various LEGO Easter eggs and pop culture references. Spider-Man PS4 minifigures. So in 2019, LEGO made the Spider-Man minifigure based on his appearance in the PS4 video game and was exclusive to, yeah, you guessed it, San Diego Comic-Con. The following year, LEGO and Sony would also collaborate for a sweepstakes in which they made 1,650 Miles Morales Spider-Man minifigures based on his appearance in the video game. To win it, you had to have beaten the game and then opt into a raffle for the chance to win the minifigure. 76047 is not accurate. So Black Panther Pursuit is a LEGO Marvel set released in 2016 to coincide with the release of Captain America Civil War. As you can guess by the title of this entry, the set is not particularly accurate to how things played out in the movie. I've only seen the movie once, which was like right after it came out in theaters, so I don't know if it's Captain America's truck that isn't accurate, or if there just straight up isn't a scene that's, you know, depicted in the style of this set. There's 4 different reviews on Brickset that talk about how the set's inaccurate, but none of them actually go into the detail as to what is inaccurate about it, so Feel free to let me know in the comments about this one. Diamond and Hydro Man Attack. Hydro Man Attack is this 2019 Marvel superhero set based on Spider-Man Far From Home. The primary build of this set is a bridge over one of the canals of Venice, and there's this kind of hidden spot underneath the bridge where you have this rat and pizza tile piece, and for whatever reason there's a diamond there too. So I don't know if a tourist dropped a diamond ring or something over the bridge and this rat collected it. I think it's just like a fun little Easter egg. But I will say the fact that there's a hidden gem and this rat is eating pizza could also be a joke about the hidden gems of Venice's dining spots. This one could very well just be open for interpretation. Spider-Man and Robin hoverbikes. So Robin's hoverbike in the Ultimate Batmobile from the Lego Batman movie is very similar in design to the Spider-Man Spider Cycle Chase hoverbike. That's it. That's the entry. Misnamed MCU Iron Man suits. This is another entry I can't find much information about, but I think the title's pretty straightforward. It would seem that there are some Iron Man minifigures that LEGO has incorrectly labeled, like in the MCU, this Iron Man suit is the Mark whatever, but LEGO accidentally refers to it by a different mark. 76013 Jack Nicholson Joker. The Joker Steamroller set has this Joker minifigure who wears a purple fedora and as a result bears a striking resemblance to Jack Nicholson's character in the 1989 Tim Burton Batman film. He also has a resemblance to the Joker as he appeared in the Killing Joke graphic novel. Venomization. So in 2024, LEGO released two of these Marvel sets which had these Venomized Spider-Man villains, one of which was Doc Ock and the other was Green Goblin. Some fans were not super happy about this because instead of just having a Doc Ock minifigure in a $10 set and a Green Goblin minifigure in a $35 set, you get these weird half Venom minifigures. A lot of people just wanted that minifigure instead of like this weird, very niche hybrid. Lex and Mysterio mechs. This entry just refers to these weird mechs that both Lex Luthor and Mysterio have in these LEGO Junior sets. They don't really look like mechs as much as they look like these bulky robot suits. LEGO Iron Man 3 inaccuracies. In summer of 2013, LEGO released a trio of sets based on the Iron Man 3 movie, but the sets were really inaccurate to the actual movie. For example, the smallest set of the bunch is one of the most made fun of LEGO superhero sets ever. The set includes Heartbreaker Iron Man and the Mandarin, but the Mandarin has this kind of like flamethrower rocket launching golf cart. I'm really not sure where LEGO got this idea from to give this to the Mandarin. As one can infer, this is not accurate to the movie at all. I mean, the Mandarin's not the villain in the movie, and he certainly wasn't driving around in this like weaponized golf cart. Also, in the Extremis Seaport battle set, Rhodey has the War Machine armor, but of course in the movie he's now Iron Patriot. The most accurate of the bunch was the Malibu Mansion attack, which features Tony Stark's mansion, but again, you have the Mandarin in this set, which is not accurate to the scene. To be honest, they probably just wanted to include a more detailed version of the Mandarin, because this one is a bit more detailed than the version that comes in that aforementioned $13 set. He has a cape, for example, so that's a big ticket right there. Also, I think it is kind of funny that my sister had the Olivia's House set from LEGO Friends around that time, and the lime green kitchenette featured in the Malibu Mansion is the same as of some of the LEGO Friends sets from that time. I guess the 2013 Iron Patriot set that I kind of mentioned previously is the most accurate Iron Man 3 set of the bunch, and that was just like a video game pre-order bonus, so kind of hard to mess that one up. Magazine gift. So if you're a fellow Yankee, you probably don't know what these even are, but if you're European, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here. LEGO has various magazines for specific LEGO themes, such as Minecraft or Star Wars, and of course both DC and Marvel superheroes have one as well. It's filled with comics and games and stuff, various activities, and all of them come with a poly bag of sorts, which either has a minifigure or, a micro build, something of that nature. Some of these minifigures are exclusive variants you can only get from the magazine, or are otherwise only included in one set. There's this Mr. Freeze minifigure that can only be found in one of the 2020 issues, or this Captain Marvel minifigure that only appeared in one set. The builds include this exclusive Bat Cycle set, or whatever this Venom creature is. Halloween City Batgirl. When it comes to girls' Halloween costumes, it seems like female superheroes like Batgirl always have the conventional accurate costume for that superhero, but then there's this like really obnoxiously pink costume as well. If you ever looked at like the Halloween City catalogs growing up, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. LEGO seemingly references this with this Pink Power Batgirl minifigure that was included in the first LEGO Batman collectible minifigure series. Non-DC superheroes characters in LEGO Batman movie set. In the LEGO Batman movie, the Joker is basically sent to the Phantom Zone, and it's there that he meets these other villains from the Warner Brothers properties like the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz, or Voldemort from Harry Potter. So he kind of like recruits them to escape and take over Gotham City, if I recall correctly. I haven't seen the movie since like it was released in theaters. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, the LEGO Batman movie set, the Ultimate Batmobile, has the Wicked Witch of the West and 2 of her flying monkeys, which is kind of the only instance I can think of with a LEGO superhero set having minifigures from a non-superhero intellectual property. Connecting multiple 76057. So Spider-Man Web Warriors Ultimate Bridge Battle is this LEGO Spider-Man set, which is, a battle on a bridge. Pretty straightforward name, I'd say. Well, this isn't really a LEGO set that could directly connect to a second model of itself. Some people have been able to do so with some modification to the original build. Certainly one of the more straightforward entries on the chart. Bane stole the Thunder Driller. Going back to the Mighty Micros entry, one of the sets from the first wave of that sub-theme is very appropriately called Robin vs. Bane. The main build is this driller for Bane, and unlike previous Bane drill vehicles, like in the 2012 Batcave, this build is lime green and orange as opposed to red and black. It looks very similar to the Thunder Driller from 2009's LEGO Power Miners, so of course you could kind of develop some theories about a LEGO multiverse and whatnot with this kind of thing. Regardless, this is kind of a cool homage to LEGO Power Miners by the set designer, a theme which certainly deserves a comeback in my opinion. 76113 plus 76114 equals 76148. So Spider-Man Bike Crawler is this 2019 set, which, as you can guess, has a Spider-Man bike as one of the builds. Another set from that year is Spider-Man's Spider Crawler, with a build that, once again, does a pretty good job of living up to the name of the set. 2020's Spider-Man vs. Doc Ock has this Spider-Man bike that has spider legs on the side of it. So you can guess that the entry is basically suggesting that the build in this set is kind of a combination of these Spider-Man vehicles from these other 2 sets from the previous year. Obviously, if you look at the build and compare them, it's not a literal combination. It's just more saying, maybe LEGO was kind of starting to run out of ideas with some of these Spider-Man vehicles that, again, he would never need or ever use. Bugle errors. In the 2021 Daily Bugle set, Kurt Connor's first name is incorrectly spelled with a K instead of a C on one of the stickers, and the pinholes on the left side used for connecting to other modular buildings are spaced incorrectly, meaning that the set won't fit with other modulars. The designer did acknowledge these mistakes before the set was released, but they were not fixed. Loki Scepter from Pharaoh's Quest. So Loki has this scepter staff kind of thing in the LEGO sets, which is made up of these 2 pieces, one of which is this golden Ninjago dagger, and then the hilt is this scepter piece from the LEGO Pharaoh's Quest theme from a few years prior. Glow-in-the-dark Extremis sets. The Extremis, I don't know how to pronounce this, Extremis, whatever. The villain minifigures in the Iron Man 3 sets have glow-in-the-dark heads that kind of simulate their glowing skin in the movie. This results in them having a weird pale green skin color, and the fact that one of these sets takes place in a boat kind of makes Aldrich Killian look like he's really seasick and kind of just adds to the humor of this minifigure. 76039 recalled. In 2015, LEGO released the Ant-Man Final Battle set to coincide with the release of the Ant-Man movie. The main build from the set is Anthony the Ant, but the legs of the build had some pretty significant stability issues. So as a result, LEGO recalled the set after it was released that summer. They fixed the stability issues with the build pretty quickly, and the set was back on shelves not too long afterward. I don't know if there's a way to tell if you have the original version of the set or the new version without opening up the box. Honestly, I don't really know if there's a significant difference in the value of the set either. Decapitated Riddler. So in the Joker Funhouse set, there's this green window with the Riddler's head in it, and this is like a fortune teller machine or something to that effect, but childhood me did think it was kind of funny that there's a Riddler head hanging out that's identical to the Riddler minifigure included in the set. 40334 surprise release. LEGO re-released this exclusive Avengers Tower set to commemorate the conclusion of the Infinity Saga, and was a gift with purchase if you spent $75 on LEGO Marvel products directly from LEGO, either at the LEGO store or on their website. A few years after it retired, the Avengers Tower gift with purchase randomly reappeared for sale on LEGO.com for $20. 18 plus Venom head saliva. The Venom headset has these neon green pieces inside the mouth, which are pretty difficult to notice at first. I didn't even notice this until researching this entry, but it's supposed to represent Venom saliva, which is a cool touch. Printed head Iron Man. So in 2012, to market the upcoming release of the Marvel Superheroes theme, LEGO made these two Marvel minifigures, kind of like they did with those DC minifigures I mentioned previously. These were distributed at that year's International Toy Fair in New York. They made 125 of this Bucky Barnes Captain America minifigure, and then they made 125 of this Iron Man minifigure. The Iron Man is very unique, as it's the only Iron Man minifigure whose helmet is printed directly onto the head, as opposed to having a helmet piece, and it looks a little goofy as a result. 30448 is based on Web of Shadows. So Spider-Man vs. the Venom symbiote is this polybag released in 2016. The build in it seems to be based off of Venom's appearance in the 2008 video game Web of Shadows, in which Venom is the main antagonist. You fight him twice in the game, and one instance is against this 5-headed giant symbiote, quite similar to the build in this set. Same turret in 76153 and 76192. Avengers Helicarrier is a Marvel set released in 2020, and it has this rubber missile launching turret atop the Helicarrier build. Now, in the Avengers Endgame Final Battle set released the following year, what appears to be the identical turret is featured in that build. If I'm not mistaken, there's no variation with it, and these are exactly the same in both sets, which were released about a year apart from each other. Detroit Steel Pilot. The Detroit Steel mech in set 76077 is piloted by Justin Hammer in an iron suit. This is inaccurate because the mech is not piloted by him in the comics, which is what the set is based on. Green Lantern Submarine. So this kind of goes back to the book exclusive minifigure entry. Most of the time, the exclusive in question is just a minifigure, but the book DC Comics Superheroes Build Your Own Adventure has an entire build in addition to this exclusive John Stewart Green Lantern minifigure. The build is this Green Lantern spaceship, which can also be converted into a submarine, as I guess in the book Green Lantern visits Aquaman in Atlantis. Web Juice. In the Spider-Man Daily Bugle set, there's a vending machine with a drink called Web Juice. 2020 video game sets. After Avengers Endgame, LEGO made a bunch of Avengers sets that were seemingly just based on the comics, in which the Avengers fought a bunch of Agents of AIM, but I guess these sets were actually based on the 2020 Avengers video game that was released the same year from Square. Video game stickers. In 2012's The Avengers, there's this scene where Tony Stark calls out a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent for playing Galaga on his computer aboard the helicarrier, and LEGO referenced this with one of these stickers in the Hulk helicarrier breakout set. Additionally, in Avengers Endgame, Bro Thor is playing Fortnite, and when LEGO released a set based on his apartment or house, whatever it is, they had this sticker of him playing some sort of video game on the TV, and it was kind of like, how close can we get to depicting Fortnite without doing so literally, because they didn't have the rights to do so at the time. Obviously, LEGO now does have quite the partnership with Fortnite and Epic Games, considering there's an entire game mode called LEGO Fortnite, and, they make sets based on the game. LEGO Batman Movie, the video game. Unlike the other 3 LEGO motion pictures, more specifically both LEGO Movie 1 and 2 and the LEGO Ninjago movie, the LEGO Batman movie never really had a proper video game tie-in. There was this mobile game which was like this really weird Subway Surfers dupe and also Guitar Hero dupe in one. The rhythm aspect didn't really have music, like the music, if you could even call it that, was like something that I would make in GarageBand when I was in elementary school. LEGO did apparently release an expansion pack for the Toys to Life game LEGO Dimensions, and if you bought this, it would let you play through the story of the LEGO Batman movie. So I guess instead of just giving it its own video game, they decided to release it as DLC for LEGO Dimensions. This is something they did for like the all-female Ghostbusters movie and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. App-controlled Batmobile set. One of the more interesting LEGO Batman sets is this Batmobile that's kind of like an RC toy, but you control it with a mobile app via Bluetooth. Also, the Batman minifigure in this 2018 set is exclusive, so that's cool. White Vision. When LEGO released Series 1 of the MCU collectible minifigures series, one of the minifigures included was Vision from the then fairly recently released WandaVision series on Disney+. Vision here was particularly inaccurate because he really wasn't white. He was mostly gray with gold accenting, and the Infinity Stone he has in his forehead was gold on the minifigure, but in the show it was blue. Really, the explanation behind that is LEGO often has to make these sets or minifigures based off of concept art or an unfinished version of the final movie or show, so that's kind of why you get some weird discrepancies with some superheroes minifigures based on movies or TV shows. Adamantium Glass Stable. This refers to a sticker on a window piece in the 2014 Hulk Labs Smash set. As you can see, Thor is handcuffed and in this cell, and adamantium is this fictional metal alloy from Marvel. Like Wolverine's claws and skeleton are coated in this stuff. So kind of weird that the set has adamantium glass when this is a kind of metal. The set is based off of Avengers Assemble, an animated show I never watched, so I don't know if this is accurate to the show or what the deal is there. I don't really know what this entry refers to. Bumblebee Mini Doll. In 2017, LEGO released this sub-theme for DC superheroes called DC Supergirls, based off of a Cartoon Network show of the same name. Rather than making minifigures, LEGO elected to go the mini doll route with this theme, just like they have with LEGO Friends, which makes sense. I mean, girls are obviously the target audience. The theme had a few DC superheroes characters that actually either made their first appearance in LEGO form as a mini doll, or have never even made an appearance as a minifigure to date. For example, Elena Luthor is one such mini doll that's never been made as a minifigure, and a notable example of a character that first appeared as a mini doll was Bumblebee, who appeared in the Bumblebee helicopter set. LEGO would end up making this minifigure as part of the LEGO Batman Movie Series 2 collectible minifigures series, so I think the reason this entry is on the chart is for that reason. LEGO made a mini doll of this character before they made a minifigure. Mickey Mouse in Daily Bugle. So in a Daily Bugle, there's this mouse you can see on the ground next to the building. In the designer interviews at the beginning of the instruction manual, a designer confirms it's meant to be the same mouse from Avengers Endgame that activated the Quantum Realm Tunnel, bringing Scott Lang to 2023. The directors of Endgame have said that that mouse is a symbol for Mickey Mouse and how Disney saved Marvel movies because Scott Lang's plan saved the MCU. Prototype Catwoman Yellow Head. Out of the various misprinted LEGO minifigure heads floating around out there, one of them is this Catwoman head for the 2012 minifigure. I found this on eBay, and I'm not sure if it's a misprint that ended up in a set by accident or if this was a actual prototype and was never released for consumers. Barakai Eye. In set 10721, the piece used for Iron Man's hand thrusters is the same piece originally used for the Eyes of the Baraki Bionicle sets from 2007. It's unknown as to why LEGO chose to use that piece in this instance as opposed to the usual blue studs. Shocker censored. Shocker is a Spider-Man villain who appears in the 2017 Spider-Man No Way Home set Beware the Vulture. When the Beware the Vulture set was first revealed, the Shocker minifigure was blacked out, likely to avoid spoilers. Cancelled Wolverine CCBS. CCBS is the name given to the type of sets that include Bionicle, or those Ben 10 sets you totally forgot about until now. In 2012, there were these superhero buildable figure sets, and there was concept art for a Wolverine head that was never made into an actual set. The set was likely canceled early in production, perhaps because I don't know a single person who bought one of these buildable figure sets when they were released. Joker mech in LEGO Dimensions. If you played LEGO Batman 2, you might remember there's this big Joker mech you have to fight toward the end of the game. This mech makes a return to LEGO Dimensions, which could suggest that there's direct continuity between LEGO Batman 2 and LEGO Dimensions, like, they're set in the same universe, which would make sense. I mean, that's kind of the basis of LEGO Dimensions. Pepe's Pizza. The pizza shop in the Sanctum Sanctorum Showdown set is called Pepe's Pizza. Pepe's not actually included in the set, but he is seen on a sticker. The set also implies that Peter Parker's apartment is above Pepe's Pizza, but this is inaccurate to the MCU. 18 plus Iron Man helmet unknown mark. In 2020, LEGO released this buildable Iron Man helmet, but it's unknown which suit it's based on. The box art has the logo from Iron Man 1, which would imply it's based on the MCU Mark III, but the designers have also claimed it's based on designs from the comics, so it's kind of an amalgamation of different sources. SDCC Symbiote Torso. The 2012 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Symbiote suit Spider-Man minifigure had this new torso and face print. However, the torso was reused for Venom in later sets, so the only thing that's exclusive about the minifigure now is the head. Repaired Daily Bugle window. So on one floor of the Daily Bugle, there's this window being broken by Green Goblin, and a lot of people who bought the set want to be able to display the build in its unbroken form. And I guess this isn't in the instructions, but you can modify the broken window pretty easily without needing any extra parts from outside the set. Anya Corazon, Peter Parker's daughter error. Anya Corazon is the alter ego of Spider-Girl who appears in one set, that being Spider-Man vs. Doc Ock. The LEGO shop description for this set describes her as Peter Parker's dynamic daughter, which is simply not accurate as the character has no relation to Parker. There is an alternate universe where Peter Parker and Mary Jane have a daughter, and that daughter becomes Spider-Girl, but that's a totally different character and should not be confused with this one. Venomosaurus box art location. Venomosaurus Ambush is a 2020 LEGO Spider-Man set, and as you can see on the box art, it presumably takes place in the desert of the American Southwest. The set appears to draw inspiration from the Marvel comic Old Man Logan, where a venomized dinosaur is featured. Unprinted Gorilla Grodd. Gorilla Grodd is a DC superheroes villain that appears in the set Gorilla Grodd Goes Bananas, released in 2015. If you look at the set on the LEGO Shop website, an official image of the set uses a Grodd Big Fig with no face print or any sort of torso printing. SDCC Raffles Rigged. At 2013 San Diego Comic-Con, LEGO gave away this Spider-Man minifigure and this Spider-Woman minifigure. The distribution was via a raffle, as is the case with many years, but this year was a bit different, as there was some reported fishy behavior going down, according to several attendees. To my understanding, the employees at the nearby Legoland were at the booth in San Diego and were responsible for handing out tickets to attendees. You would wait in a ridiculously long line. When you would get to the front, they were supposed to scan your badge, and then they would hand you a ticket out of a bag or a ticket they already had available in their hand. But I guess the badges weren't being scanned consistently until the final day of the convention, so people on the first day would just wait in line, get their ticket, and hop back in the end of the line and get another ticket to increase their chances of winning. There was also this report that Legoland employees who were handing out the tickets had tickets in their hand, and when a kid would walk up, they would give them a winning ticket from their hand, and when an adult came up, they would give them a ticket out of a bag. Basically, the claim was that Lego representatives already knew what number ranges would be announced later that day, so as a result, they could kind of decide who they wanted to win. That's not to say that every ticket that came out of the bag wasn't a winner, or every ticket that was in the employee's hand was. The idea of Lego showing favoritism to children over adult fans and people who are probably just going to resell the minifigure for hundreds of dollars on the aftermarket makes sense. Lego did respond to this controversy, and as you can imagine, they denied the claims that they gave specific tickets to specific attendees or showed favor to children over adults. The fact that Lego does these exclusive minifigures where they only make 125 to 350 of them, knowing just how desirable these characters are to a lot of fans, is frustrating enough for the average Lego fan, and obviously something like this really didn't help. It's been over a decade since this took place, and I don't think this was ever necessarily proven, but it is an interesting theory to look back on. Carnage symbiote canister. In the Spider-Man bike rescue set, Carnage is seen attacking some sort of object that can be blown up with a play feature. It shows some spider webs on it, attempting to keep it from exploding. What is this canister? Is it a symbiote containment unit as seen in the Venom movie? Or is it a generator and Carnage wants to destroy it for some reason? I basically just kind of copied and pasted the Reddit comment from the creator of this Iceberg chart because a lot of people are just as confused as I was as to why this entry is on the chart and what the significance is. Ben Reilly and Felicia Hardy in 4850. Spider-Man's First Chase is a 2002 set based on the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. In this set, you have this dark red spider and this black cat, and it can be inferred that this is a reference to Ben Reilly, who is also known as Scarlet Spider, and Felicia Hardy, who is also known as Black Cat, within the Spider-Man universe. 2019 Avengers Compound is Recycled City Police Station. Avengers Compound Battle is a 2019 set based on Avengers Endgame, and the main build of this set looks very similar to a Lego City Police Station set. This may have been because Lego didn't want to potentially spoil anything from the upcoming movie. If you look at the Lego City Police Station from 2017, 2 years prior, you can certainly see the resemblance. Manure stains on Farmer in 76054. The Batman Scarecrow Harvest of Fear features a farmer minifigure who has these brown stains on his shirt. It can be inferred that the stains in question are animal manure. Peter Parker cheating on MJ. In the Spider-Man helicopter rescue set released in 2014, Peter Parker is rescuing MJ from Green Goblin. As seen in the comic included in that set, they're dating at the time. Then in the Spider-Man hideout set released in 2015, there's this heart drawn on the wall that says PP plus MJ, standing, of course, for Peter Parker, and Mary Jane. And then in the Spider-Man Web Warriors Ultimate Bridge Battle set that I mentioned earlier, which was released in 2016, there's another heart drawn on the wall, this time saying PP plus GS, standing, of course, for Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. The Spider-Man minifigure is the same in all three sets, and basically the creator of this Iceberg chart argues that it's the same continuity. At some point between 2015 and 2016, Peter started dating Gwen, presumably having dumped MJ. I don't think this necessarily means Spider-Man cheated on her. He maybe just broke up with her, or she broke up with him and started dating Gwen Stacy afterward. I mean, there is a difference there. Canceled Batman Begins set. The 2005 San Diego Comic-Con Joker card promo has box art similar to the Batman Begins posters. It's possible that there could have been a Batman Begins set that got canceled early on. Of course, the Lego Batman theme began in 2006, the same year that Batman Begins was released. Original Alfred side head printing. The original Alfred Pennyworth minifigure is pretty unique, as the minifigure has printing that wraps around the entire headpiece. I can't really think of any other minifigure that has printing on the side of the head, at least in the context that this minifigure does. Far From Home Fireman deleted scene. There's a joke entry about the Fireman minifigure in 2019's Molten Man battle set. This guy didn't appear in the movie, and I guess a lot of people on Reddit and various LEGO communities were making jokes about him after the set was revealed. The creator of the Iceberg chart, though, argues that there could have been a deleted scene from Far From Home that he was in. Most likely, though, LEGO just kind of made this set based off of, concept art, and they wanted to throw in an extra minifigure, so they figured it would make sense to put a fireman in there. Designer fired for leaking sets. The chart creator claimed that this one can't be confirmed, but it's certainly possible that it's true. There are instances of LEGO employees having been punished by the company in the past for leaking set images. I didn't find any information about a LEGO set designer or employee being fired for something like this, though. The LEGO Batman apparition and every copy of LEGO Batman the video game is personalized. This is a joke entry, kind of just making fun of the Mario 64 Iceberg, which is kind of a notorious chart within the Iceberg community, if you will. There's a very rare chance that when you're building a LEGO Batman set, Batman's giant head will chase you down a long hallway. No Punisher in LEGO store displays. In LEGO stores, if they had the Daily Bugle built-in display, they were not allowed to put the Punisher minifigure on display alongside it. LEGO specifically told employees of their stores not to because he's a violent character, but most stores would have him in the back and would bring him out if anyone were to request to do so. I guess the chart creator asked an employee about this, and they confirmed the validity of it. Cancelled original superhero sub-theme. There's a theory that because the theme started out as superheroes and not just Marvel or DC, LEGO was planning on doing its own sub-theme of original superheroes. The villains featured in the LEGO Ultra Agents theme may have been a realization of this lost theme. Black Cat minifigure censored. Black Cat's design in the comics is a bit racy, to put it one way. If you compare that to her minifigure from the Daily Bugle set, you can spot the difference pretty quickly. It's pretty clear that LEGO kind of quote-unquote censored the Black Cat minifigure as, it is a family-friendly company and product that they're selling. Unreleased Flash set. When the Flash movie was released, LEGO was planning on making a Batmobile set which would have included Ezra Miller's Flash, Michael Keaton's Batman, and Supergirl. However, this set would end up being canceled, and many suspect the controversy surrounding Ezra Miller could have been the reason for that. Honestly, I can't even remember what the controversy was. When I went to his Wikipedia page, there were several different controversies, which is not good. But anyway, it wasn't until about a year or so after the movie's release that these preliminary images of the set were leaked. 30167 predicted Far From Home. There's this 2013 polybag that shows Iron Man with a fighting drone, implying that's a training drone created by Stark Industries. This suggests that the designer of the polybag predicted the Stark drone seen in Spider-Man Far From Home 6 years before that movie was released. So that does it for the LEGO Superheroes Iceberg chart. Did I miss anything? Be sure to let me know in the comments, and again, please consider liking this video to push it out to more people. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Smash that subscribe button and all that cliche stuff. But seriously, I appreciate you guys. God bless you all.